So you want to own a vineyard. Rolling hills, sunset, a glass of red, your own label on the bottle. It looks like the perfect investment. Land, luxury, and liquid gold. It is almost none of those things. This is one of farming's cruelest traps. The math will genuinely surprise you. Yet the richest people keep buying in. Here is why, and where it breaks. First, forget the fantasy. A vineyard is not a winery. It is a slow, capital-hungry farm that happens to grow one very expensive crop. And the entry price is brutal. In Napa Valley, planted vineyard land routinely runs from $100,000 to over $500,000 per acre. In the most prized appellations, a Rutherford Oakville, bare-planted ground alone can cross $300,000 an acre before you plant a single vine. Step down to Sonoma's Carneros and averages soften to around $80,000 an acre. Location is not a detail here. Location is the entire business. Now add the winery dream, a fully operational estate, production facility, tasting room, and established brand frequently sells for more than $30 million. And here's the first thing nobody tells you. Buying the land is the cheap part. Planning it is where the real bleeding starts. Establishing a new vineyard costs roughly $35,000 to $60,000 per acre, trellising, irrigation, young vines, labor, before one grape is ever sold. Then you wait. Newly planted vines take 3 to 5 years to reach full production. Years of pure cost and zero revenue. That's the trapdoor. So how does a vineyard actually make money? Let's stack the income streams from the obvious ground floor up to the hidden penthouse. Layer 1, selling grapes. The simplest path. You grow fruit, a winery buys it by the ton, and you never touch a bottle. Yield is everything here. Most vineyards produce between 2 and 10 tons of grapes per acre, depending on how hard you push the vines. But there is a cruel rule. The more tons you grow, the worse the wine. Premium sites deliberately choke yield down to 2 to 4 tons. Now the price. This is where terroir turns into cash. In 2021, Napa Cabernet grapes averaged over $8,000 per ton. By 2023, top Napa Cabernet hit a record of roughly $8,800 a ton. Statewide Cabernet averaged closer to $8,000. Do the math on a good Napa acre. 3 tons at $8,000 is $24,000 of grape revenue per acre per year. Layer 2, make your own wine. Instead of selling the fruit, you keep it. 1 ton of grapes becomes roughly 720 bottles. That single Napa acre, 3 tons, now becomes over 2,000 bottles a year. Suddenly, you are not a farmer. You are a brand. And a bottle sells for far more than a grape. A ton worth $8,000 as fruit can become tens of thousands as wine. Here is the dirty secret of the business. The money was never in the grape. It was in the label, the story, and the markup. Layer 3, the tasting room. This is the hidden engine. You sell direct to visitors, no distributor, no retailer, no middleman taking a cut. And they pay just to walk in. In Napa, a standard tasting now averages around $81 per person. A reserve tasting, roughly $128. Compare that to Sonoma at about $38 or Paso Robles near $28. The Napa name alone triples what you can charge at the door. Layer 4, the wine club. Members who pay to receive your bottles automatically, every quarter, forever. Predictable recurring revenue. The holy grail of any winery. Layer 5, the quiet one. The land itself. Vineyard acreage in elite regions has appreciated for decades, turning owners into landlords of a scarce trophy asset. So the stack is real. Grapes, wine, tastings, clubs, and land. On paper, 5 income streams. It sounds unstoppable. It is not unstoppable. Because underneath every one of those layers sits a cost structure engineered to eat you alive. Here is where owners actually die. Start with farming. Simply managing a vineyard costs roughly $6,000 to $20,000 or more per acre every year, whether or not you sell. On top of that, ongoing property maintenance, irrigation, pest control, equipment, facilities often runs 2 to 3% of the property's value annually. On a multi-million-dollar estate, that percentage alone is a 6-figure bill before you pay a single winemaker. And you will pay winemakers. Skilled labor is the largest recurring cost of all. Managers, winemakers, and crews frequently push annual payroll from $50,000 to over $150,000. Now, the break even line. Analysts estimate a California vineyard earning less than roughly $7,700 per acre is simply losing money. Read that again. Below that number, every beautiful acre is bleeding red ink before you've even counted the land you paid millions for. Here is the trap most dreamers never see coming. This is farming. And farming answers to the weather, not to your spreadsheet. One spring frost can kill a season's buds overnight. One autumn heat wave can raisin the crop. One wildfire can taint an entire vintage with smoke. Smoke taint is the modern nightmare. A distant fire can render grapes unsellable. The fruit looks perfect, but the wine tastes like an ashtray. Then there is disease, powdery mildew, rot, and the slow assassin. Vine viruses that quietly cut yields until a block must be ripped out and replanted. And replanting resets the clock. You tear out the vines, eat the costs, and wait another 3 to 5 years for revenue again. Now, the risk nobody wants to name: demand. You can grow a flawless crop and still discover that nobody actually wants to buy it. Because wine is not a necessity. It is a mood, a habit, a luxury, a need. And habits are shifting fast beneath the entire industry's feet. In the United States, the share of adults who drink alcohol has fallen to 54%, a record low since tracking began in 1939. And among those who do drink, only about 29% reach for wine. Younger buyers are choosing seltzers, spirits, and nothing at all. That's the trapdoor under the floor. You can control your soil, your vines, your winemaker, but you cannot control the thirst of a generation. Meanwhile, your costs are fixed and your calendar is merciless. The vineyard demands money in January, whether the market shows up in October or not. And selling grapes on the open market offers no safety. When supply floods, prices collapse, and contracts you assumed were guaranteed can simply evaporate. In the recent glut, some California Chardonnay sold for as little as $500 a ton, barely enough to cover the cost of picking it. Picture that. Grapes that cost thousands per acre to grow, sold for pennies, or left to rot on the vine because no buyer called back. This is the part the sunset photos hide. A vineyard is a machine that converts patience and capital into risk, and sometimes into nothing. Which brings us to a story playing out right now across the most famous wine region on earth. Watch what actually happens. Between October 2024 and August 2025, California growers pulled out an estimated 38,000 acres of bearing vineyards, not expanded, destroyed, on purpose. Industry leaders had urged farms to remove 50,000 acres a year simply to stop producing wine that nobody was buying. In 2025, an estimated 30% of California's wine grapes went entirely unsold, a third of the harvest with no home. And this was not just cheap bulk fruit. Even Napa's prized Cabernet, at record prices, saw over 10,000 tons left unsold. Fruit in legendary appellations like Oakville and Howell Mountain, some of the most valuable ground on the planet, hung on the vine unpicked. Behind the statistics are real people. In Healdsburg, a 66-year-old grower whose family had farmed the land for over a century decided to walk away. He called it the worst year he had ever seen. Beautiful fruit hanging on the vines, buyers who went silent, and no way to sell it. He is leaving the state entirely. 150 years of family farming ended not by drought, but by a market that vanished. The pain reached the corporate giants too. In July 2024, Vintage Wine Estates filed for bankruptcy as the downturn tightened its grip. Its assets, including well-known wineries like Clos Pegase and Swanson, were broken up and sold off. Even scale could not outrun the math. And the consequences ripple outward. New laws now let counties fine the owners of neglected vineyards up to $1,000 per acre. So the fantasy asset became a liability you can be penalized for simply abandoning. That is how completely the dream can invert. So here's the paradox. If the economics are this brutal, why do the wealthy keep paying millions for vineyards anyway? Because for the buyers who matter most, the wine was never really the product. The lifestyle is the product. The status is the return. Researchers have studied this for decades, framing the core question bluntly: love or money? For most trophy owners, the honest answer is love. Owning a Napa estate is treated less like a business and more like owning a sports team or an art gallery. Prestige, not profit. The non-financial return is the entire point. The dinners, the private label, the name on the gate, the identity of being a vineyard owner. And there is a colder logic beneath the romance. Elite vineyard land is scarce, finite, and has appreciated for decades. The real asset is dirt. Small vineyards often sell for the highest price per acre precisely because lifestyle buyers, not commercial farmers, are competing to own them. For someone with enormous wealth, a losing vineyard is an affordable indulgence, a beautiful place to park money, entertain, and build a legacy. There can be tax and estate advantages to holding agricultural land, and a working farm can be passed down as a family trophy for generations. That is the split screen of this whole business. For the farmer, it's survival. For the billionaire, it's a hobby with a wine cellar attached. Which is why the same asset that bankrupts one owner is a rounding error for another. The vineyard didn't change. The buyer did. So the honest question is never just, is a vineyard profitable? It is, which kind of owner are you actually built to be? So should you own a vineyard? Here is the honest, conditional answer. As a pure investment for income, it is one of farming's worst bets. If you need this land to pay your bills, the frost, the glut, and the shifting market will very likely break you within a decade. But with deep, patient capital, a real brand, and a tolerance for years of loss, it can become something rare and genuinely enduring. Buy it for cash flow, and it's a trap. Buy it for legacy, land, and love, and it can quietly reward you for life. A vineyard does not make you rich. It requires you to already be rich, then rewards you in wine, prestige, and time. Remember this: everyone sees the sunset in the glass. Almost nobody sees the 20 years of risk it took to fill it.